Hi, Kay. How are you? Me? I'm good. I just thought I'd just jump on really quick. Welcome, Debbie from London, Canada. Hi, Roberta from Browning. Hi, Kim. Hi, IN4. I'm good. How are you guys? Best ahead, everybody. Hi, Grandma Cage from Butte. Okay. So I'm just being bored, and I decided to drop on here for a little bit. It's my day off from doing readings. So if you guys have any questions about anything, I'm not doing any readings today. I'm just gonna answer, questions that people want to ask me, but I don't have the time to ask them when I'm doing my lives, if that makes sense. Because I know once I start getting to my, when I start doing my mediumship readings and stuff like that, I don't pay attention to. It's hard for me to answer questions, if that makes sense. Because I have to stop and think, and it's hard for me to think when I'm working through all that stuff. Yeah, I did, Kim. If subscribe to me if you can. Once in a while I get on here. I haven't been on here for a while. I would like to do more on YouTube, but I haven't done a lot on here. Hi, Sarah from Mississippi. You can probably hear my crazy dogs in the background making all kinds of crazy noise, so I apologize for that. I'm doing pretty good. The retrograde is kind of crazy right now for everybody too. It hits me too. Hey, Sandy. So about another month, probably less than a month of this retrograde. I can't wait for it to be over with. It's not as long as the other ones we had last year, though. Thanks, Debbie. Yeah, that puppy's not a puppy anymore. I think he's going on 6 months now. And man, he's hard to train to use the bathroom. Sarah said she had a dream of her dad after he passed, and he was at a crossroads, and he was trying to tell her which take. Ooh, that's crazy. Sarah, for you have dreams like that, just pray about it really hard. I'm hoping that, because I'm not doing a reading, I'm hoping that a family member or an angel directed him where he needed to go on that path. Because I've heard about that before. There's like some people will end up in a crossroad on the other side. I've heard of that before. So it's difficult because I don't have the answer to that. I would just pray on that is what I would do, because that's something really spiritual. I think that's something that God would do, but I would just pray on it. Hi, Marianne from New York City. Thank you. Hi, Kathleen from North Lake, Illinois. Kim says, I stopped doing tarot because I started having really bad experiences. I started reading the Bible and mentioned that form of divination are bad, so I stopped. What do you think? So divination, I use divination tools once in a while, but if you protect yourself, how I tell people is always I always call it the Christ light. If you don't believe in God, if you believe in God, or you can just put the white light around you. But I always ask God to put his white light around me, and I take it down slowly all the way to the bottom of my feet and bring it back up. Then I ask God to protect me and ask him if it's his will to allow me to do that reading. And then at the end, thank him for his protection. But if you go in using forms of divination where you have fear or your anxiety, understand that those channels are opening up inside of you, and like attracts like. So if you're doing that, then I'd probably say take a break from it for a while, or just stop if you decide to stop. I've had I dabbled in tarot cards one time when I was in my 20s, and I had a bad experience. I was attacked by something that wasn't of this earth, I guess, if you want to call it. And it was just dabbling is what it was. And I was using, and it was fear. It was a lot of fear. So it got me addicted. And so I would go, and I don't want to scare you guys, but I just think that if you use protection and you don't use fear, you're going to be okay. I didn't do that, and I didn't know at the time, and I learned the hard way. Ian Formar, how do you separate anxiety from intuition? Makes sense. Oh, I understand what you're saying. For me, Ian, it's hard to say. Like if I'm in public and I'm getting, and my anxiety kicks in, sometimes I don't know if that's my anxiety or if a spirit wants to come through to deliver a message for somebody. And that has happened plenty of times. And for me, I'm just so doing with my pen, that's how I usually work. But I don't know. I would probably take some deep breaths through your nose and hold it, and then breathe out of your mouth really slowly, like as if you're going to do a meditation, because you want to clear your mind, if that makes sense. When we clear our mind, the mind is the ego, the mind's the overthinking, the worry, and the fear. Just so when we start breathing in our nose and calming our brain down a little bit, and then just getting the messages from there, then I believe that's how you're going to know it's intuition, if that makes sense. That helps you. Sarah's saying, I was wanting to go one way, and I begged him to go another way. But thank you very much. I think God put me there with him to hopefully point him in the right direction. I hope so. I think you're, Sarah, I think you did a really good thing by doing that. And I think your dad was calling out because he was confused. So good job for doing that. I probably would have done the same. Kim is saying, I decided to stop. It's better. Yeah. Yeah, if you don't feel it's good for you, Kim, then it's probably not good for you. I mean, I have tarot cards, and I've used them once in a great while, but I rarely use them anymore because I'm my own medium, if that makes sense. I can connect with my spirit guide, and if I were to do tarot cards, it's just going to validate everything I've already been told. Let's see here. Can I ask you, I'm worried about reincarnation as not having my loved ones there when I go, because my son talks about to his other mom, and heard stories, these kids with same stories. So Debbie and I, and people always will ask me about, past lives and stuff. And I understand that, but I don't think we're supposed to be worrying about past lives on here. You don't want the worry and the baggage from those past lives brought into this life, because you already have your own problems. It's interesting to find that stuff out, but I kind of know where I've been in my past lives, and I've had many, but I don't want to hang on to that stuff. It's not good. It's not good to hold on to any kind of past. But if you were to die and say, and I don't know God's way, because I never tell anybody that reincarnation is the answer, because I don't know. I know people go to heaven and people go to lower realms. I don't know. I will never say that this is how it is, if that makes sense to you. But if you were to die and you had family members in heaven, what I was told is that when we die, everybody up there gets everybody up there gets reunited. Everybody's together. And if God wants to reincarnate you down here, he will in his own time, because it's all about the perfect timing with God. So if he brings you back down here, it'll be with another family or something like that. But until then, your guys are always going to be together in heaven for a while, until he decides to bring you back down and reincarnate you. I don't know I don't know God's plan, or you can sustain heaven. I don't know. I just know that it does exist. I've had my own experiences, and I've read many stories with, a lot of scientifically proven that I believe it's true. You're welcome, Ian Mar. Mariana's asking, how many times do you need to see a sign, a number, feathers, coins, before you can call it a sign? Mariana, I think for me, I just kind of feel it, if that makes sense. I mean, yeah, you can find pennies laying on the ground. You can just see feathers. But I think if there's that feeling, or if it just keeps happening until you start noticing it, that's how I would look at it. Because I think spirits are always going to know where you're going to be at times, and they're going to put either a feather or penny or dime somewhere. I really do believe that. I mean, as I've told people this all the time, as a medium, I'm very skeptical. I am. And I don't believe everything I hear. Even I don't believe a lot of mediums. I don't believe a lot of psychics. Some of that stuff is BS. So I always double check my sources. But when spirit works through me and talks about what signs they leave, I just throw it out there for. I think the reader might understand better than I would, if that makes sense. Kathleen says her nephew said his grandma came through in a seance before a ghost hunt, but she didn't say to you she don't believe in mediums. What do you think of a seance and ghost hunts? No. Sorry, the light back there. Sorry, that must be the sun setting. For me, when I took that spiritual development course, it was based on the spiritual movement back in the day. And I know there's religions and stuff, and it's been scientifically proven, a lot of that stuff. They didn't talk about seances, but when I connect with my spirit guide one time and I was curious about it, he told me seances are not good, Ouija boards are not good. And then the reason for that is because those things were made mainly for mediums to connect with the earthbound spirits and lower realm spirits. And he said that it's not good to do that unless you're a good medium and that you're working into it. But people go into it thinking they know what they're doing, and then they're opening up portals. They're getting spiritual attachments on them, and it's not good. I don't like it when mediums will go into these ghost hunts and not try to cross the spirit over. Some of these spirits don't want to be crossed over, but some are stuck and they need help. So I'm a very big empath on that. And people in my hometown of Butte, it's a big haunted. I mean, it's an old ghost town up there, anyways. It's like a big old mining town, and the more uptown I went up, the more infested it got. And people, that do these ghost hunts don't want me to do that with them because they know what I do. I am going to cross those spirits over, ask them to cross over if they want. Let me see here. But I would suggest, just me and Kathleen, I would not do any of that stuff, especially seances. It's like doing a Ouija board. When you connect, if you're not knowing what you're doing when you're doing a seance or a Ouija board, you're going to be connecting with earthbound spirits, demons, malevolent spirits that are going to confuse you or the readers, and they'll lie to you. So I don't even believe that's even your grandma. It's hard to say because I'm not there. I wasn't there. Just prove that. But that's one of those things. Seances do not connect with seances, and Ouija boards don't connect up here, if that makes sense. And they only connect with earthbound and lower realm spirits. And now those kind of spirits can lie to people. And that's why I'm not really for those things. And I think that the Ouija board was made to manipulate kids to play and open up channels and cause confusion and fear. But I'm not telling you what you can't do, but I'm just saying just be careful with that stuff. Whatever you do, it's not my cup of tea. Hi, Sarah. Sarah saying, can you tell me if a message for a person is from that person or from something more dark? I'm afraid sometimes to give messages because I'm afraid of something dark coming through. I do pray about it. Sarah, if you're going to deliver messages, you can't use fear. You like attracts like. So when you're putting that energy out there, when you're open like this, you could be attracting things around you. And I understand that. You have to trust the messages you get. And it's good that you're praying for protection, but trust the messages you get and get them out. If it feels like it's something dark, trust. And if you're an empath and you know that feeling, then pray to God that it gets removed. If you're a good medium or a good psychic or whatever your abilities are, and you know energy, trust that energy. And if you don't want to, that's fine. Everybody's got free will, but that's how I would do it and how I was trained. But just don't do readings when you're scared. Don't do readings when you're sick. Don't do readings when you're drunk or high. You're just going to be attracting bad crap. I will not do any of that one. I always check myself with my energy when I do readings. I always, I don't just go in there and do readings, because I want to make sure that I'm in the right spot. No, I would never do that, Paul. I'm just saying I believe you with our reading. She said she didn't believe in mediums. And I get that too, Kathleen. Like and it is kind of funny. It's really rare, and it does happen once in a great while. I just saw that little flare back behind me when I looked up. I hope that was a flare. Maybe it was an orb. I hope it's not an orb because I'm not doing readings. Sorry. Anyway, what was I going to say about that? It is rare that when I do connect with the spirit, a spirit will come through and say, well, I don't believe in mediums. And it does happen a few times, maybe all those readings I've ever done, probably maybe 4 or 5, and so it's really rare for me. And I asked my teacher about that, and even connect with my spirit guide. It was basically the same thing. Some people on this earth will carry their beliefs all the way to heaven, even though, they know that it's the truth up there. They just don't want to work with it. They're just still kind of weird about it, And when I'm connecting with spirits in heaven, I know that I'm in the right with God, in the graces of God, because I always protect myself, if that makes sense. Let's see. Mary Anna is, I remember in 2002 freaking out at Earthbound spirits near Ground Zero who were in the World Trade Center. All I thought to do was tell them to cross over. God bless you, Mariana, for doing that. When I was I was on the World Trade Center in 1993, and I think that first time it got bombed in the basement around that time. I was there that summer right after it happened. But I'll tell you one thing, I do remember this really. We were on the North Tower, and I still have that. I gotta find that one day. I have the stub to that, and I framed it with the picture I took looking up at the World Trade Center. And I remember going on the North Tower, and there was observation deck, and it was just the biggest building I've ever seen in my life. It was just, out of my whole experience, the first time I've been in New York was that building. I couldn't believe it. It was just so awesome to be in that building. And I remember getting close to that window and that thick glass, you can lean on it and look down, and I couldn't do it because it freaked me out. But one thing I've told people this many times before the plane hit, I kept seeing a plane hitting these buildings. I keep seeing a plane hitting the building, and people are like, "Well, that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen." But the reason I wonder if, and I thought about that looking back, when I was 19, I just graduated high school. I was looking back, and when I was looking down, I saw those planes. They would fly lower than the building, and maybe I was picking up on that, or maybe it was something psychically telling me that. But I didn't let the fear get to me. But after 9/11, I remember, and it wasn't the buildings that got to me that made an impact from that day when I woke up to watch it that morning. It was the people I can remember that were coming off of work from those elevators and the escalators. I remember seeing all those people, and all I could think of was like, oh my goodness, all those people that were in that building, thousands of people, and and being stuck up somewhere on top over the 80th floor, I couldn't imagine that. That has to be the worst kind of terror anybody had to go through. I don't know. I don't know if I probably would have. I don't know what if I could have survived that. I'd probably be fainting all the time. I couldn't rationalize that. I would think I'm in a nightmare. But I'm glad that you crossed those spirits over. I was reading somewhere, I think it was in Japan, where they had that big tsunami. I was just reading about that recently, or watching that on the news, that the tsunami hit. You remember with that, I think it was that big earthquake there that hit that radioactive place that they have. I can't remember what the name of it was, but anyways, it caused a big tsunami and earthquake, and it killed like thousands of people. And they said to this day that around that beach area, people still see these spirits around quite a bit there, lingering around, talking, and they just look disheveled and everything. And I'm thinking I know there's mediums in Japan. There's got to be people out there to help these spirits because they're stuck. They went through something tragic. And when you go through something tragic like that, it shocks your body, it shocks your soul for a while. And some of these spirits around 9/11, I also believe didn't get a chance, to say goodbye. And I think they're kind of stuck that way. And they became stuck in that area. They might be still in shock. It's a sad thing. I think about that stuff all the time. Let's see, Debbie. Let's see, what did she say? I need to know if I watch scary movies or psychological movies, can that bring bad things? No. Debbie, I watch those things all the time. I watch, and some you guys don't know about me, but I like watching those. I like scary movies. I like watching those ghost hunts, and I can tell BS and stuff when I see stuff. This is why I watch them. I can tell what stuff is legit when it's Hollywood on there. I also watch those, missing people stories, because I think I just try to connect to see what happened, to see if I can, what I'm getting. And I just find that stuff fascinating. Serial killer stuff. When I kind of find that fascinating, but then I realized when I started doing readings on it, it was more demonic. Those people were all possessed by demonic spirits that do that serial killing stuff. So I don't really get into that too much. But if you watch those kind of movies, you do not invite that stuff in. You only invite it in if you allow it to come in, if that makes sense to you. Like if you can, my little sister, she's been watching scary movies since she was probably 5 or 6. She loves them more than I do. But nothing ever happens to her. She doesn't believe in any of this stuff either. But I just think this stuff's, only if you allow it to come around. I don't think it will, unless you want it to. But I don't really think that happens. Let's see. Okay, thanks. I've been afraid to deliver messages to some people. I guess I need trust. Yeah, trust the spirit. Trust yourself more. Mariana says, I saw the second plane hit from my window at work, just a quarter mile away. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm sorry. I bet you heard the impact too. I heard it shook like for miles, and people can feel the impact of that. That's even if you live through it that far away. I think that you get some kind of post-traumatic stress or night terrors. Your body, it's just like I remember watching it on TV, and I thought that we were going like this is the end of the world. I could not believe it. All these planes landing and all these crashing, and you can't rationalize that. I thought I was still dreaming. But then, when I got out of that, I'm thinking, oh my God, those people. I can't imagine anybody having to witness that or even go through that. Let's see. Yes, it's Fukushima. Thank you, Marianne. That's where a lot of those earthbound spirits are because of that. And that was something really tragic there too. A lot of those people weren't expecting that. And that's why a lot of those spirits there are stuck. But yeah, when spirits, when things like this happen like that, I don't want to scare you guys, but let me give you an example. All right. So, I'm trying to think of what that's called. Give me 1 second in my head really quick. Okay. You remember the Helter Skelter story, right? And that thing was crazy, creepy as ever. I still read that stuff and it creeps me out. How Manson, manipulated those kids with drugs to do all that work. And I believe, some of those kids had evil in them anyways, and they were going to do it anyways. But that murder at the Tate House was so tragic there. Some of those spirits never crossed over because it was so tragic. They're still stuck in their death state, which means that they're always going to look the way they did before. They're always going to look the way they did right before they died. When you cross into the light, everything gets renewed. You're young, you're beautiful, everything's perfect up there. But if you don't cross into that light, you're going to be stuck that way. Now, that Jay Seabreeze guy, I was watching a video, I think on YouTube, and they actually had a video of Sharon. Sorry, I'm going different directions here. Sorry. So anyways, I was watching a video one time, and they were when the house was there before they tore it down, and the guy's just kind of moving it slowly around the property, and you can see really quick. You can see Sharon Tate's body there with her nightgown, and then it was like in 1970s. You can edit it, and that was really quick in like 2 or 3 seconds, and it was gone. And after they tore that building down, another guy, I guess, built on there, and his house has always been haunted. And he keeps saying he sees Sharon Tate with her belly still pregnant. And they say they see Jay Seabreeze there too. But Jay Seabreeze was always in love with Sharon Tate. They were good friends, but he was always going to, I think they had a secret affair because all of them, none of them ever had a monogamous relationship. And I'm not judging any of them, but that's how they were. Maybe it was just free love at the time. But Jay Seabreeze also attended that devil church that was popular back then in California when it was going on. So that's probably why he didn't cross over. But I believe why Sharon Tate didn't cross over, because I think she had to witness all of it, and that was so tragic for her. Debbie's saying, are we the only ones here? No, I hope not. No, there's always somebody around us. We don't know, but there's always family, friends are always around us, spirits that come visit us. Hi, Lily. Welcome. Hi, Heidi. Good to see you too. Make sure you guys are on here. Can you please not like, what is it called on here? When you follow me on here, please. That'd be awesome. And get notifications, I guess. Debbie's saying, let's see. So, so she dies tragically, but why would she have to suffer by being earthbound? What do you think? It wasn't her fault for her murder. None of those people was their fault for their murder. It's nobody's fault, except for the people that killed them, I believe. But nobody deserves that death. I mean, that's something else that's really horrible. I just think that for Sharon Tate, similar to like the 9/11 and what we're talking about, was this that was so tragic for her because she wanted that baby so bad, and she didn't, she had so much going for her, and I think when that death got to her, she might have been stuck where she was maybe in denial, because she's still thinking that she's pregnant. On the other side, I'm not sure, but that's kind of where I kind of got out of it, because if she's haunting this other guy's house that built that house on that area, and the guy keeps seeing her spirit all the time, and she's always messing with things in his house all the time, and yeah, I think it's just creepy. But it's those kind of spirits. I just wish a medium can go out there and finally give Sharon Tate, or these other people there, the peace that they need. And she probably doesn't even know who Charlie Manson is. I don't think she does, because if she's earthbound, well, maybe she has. Maybe she's just hanging around and she's read articles up around that house. I don't know. Maybe she figured it out, but maybe it took her a long time to find out what really happened. Maybe she doesn't really know. Maybe that's why she's earthbound. Grandma Cage is saying, is it possible that some spirits left their bodies before the plane hit the buildings and crashed? Was it the same for the people in the buildings? I believe so, Grandma. I believe that God has mercy. One of my coworkers one time, she said she watched the show on, I think it was Oprah, and a guy survived a plane crash. And he said as he looked back, he saw white lights coming out of people's bodies, and then all of a sudden these flames behind them were engulfing the bodies. So I believe a lot of that. I do. I believe that God has mercy, and I've heard other stories like that. I mean, to us, everything looks tragic, but sometimes I just think God has mercy at times and is there to help, prayers are going on. I don't know about the Sharon Tate. Maybe she had angels coming through, or maybe she had family coming through, and she's just not ready yet. I don't know. I just know that my opinion is that's just still in her death state. And it's something that we might not know. Hi, Shaylee. I'm sorry, how to say your name? Sheely. I hope I said your name right. Cooper. Debbie's makes sense. Different wish we could help her. I do too. Yeah, I do too. I just, I've crossed a lot of spirits over in houses, and the majority of the time they're begging me to cross over. There's been some, like when I went to an old brothel in Butte, Montana, that don't want to be crossed over because I know they're afraid of being judged or whatever is going on with them. I respect that. As long as they respect my boundaries and they leave me alone, I'm cool with that, and I'll respect them. I'll respect if I'll even ask permission to go into one of their rooms. I don't walk in there because, I treat them like humans. I don't treat them like the zoo animals, like some of these, ghost hunters go in there and do that. I don't go for that. I think that's rude and dumb. They're humans. In my opinion, a ghost is a human. That's how I look at them. They're not really human, but I'm saying? They got feelings. And that's my big empath of me going on. Hi, Elizabeth from Luca. Is it Luca, Missouri? Hi, Yvette. Paul, when we hear the voice of the deceased person, is it confirmation, or they need prayers? So there's different ways you can hear a spirit. Like, and I don't have my textbook. I can tell you the scientific what each one means, but I've had all of them. So the one that when you see me doing my kind of work with the scribbling stuff, and I'm getting the messages, that's I get that through that way. The other way is I can hear them. When I was a younger boy, I used to hear a male's voice in my inner ear, but it sounded like far away where nobody else can hear it. It would always call my name, but it was warning me to prepare myself for something later. And he actually protected me. I believe that was my angel. Now I've heard other spirits whisper in my ear. And I think when you hear the whispering, that's an earthbound spirit. That's a spirit you want to pray about, to ask God to get that spirit home, or if it's malevolent, try to smudge your house or bless it or whatever you got to do. Get a priest in there, maybe a medium that can get it out. But Paul, what do you think my friend's Paul's mom saw his paper airplane because he couldn't say goodbye? What does that mean? Do you think my friend Paul's mom saw his paper airplane before he couldn't say goodbye? I believe that sometimes spirits will give us messages or certain things like that. I do believe that before somebody passes away. I do believe that. Debbie, I hope I said that right. Yes, Elizabeth, Mississippi. Sorry. Hi, Elizabeth from Mississippi. Lily's asking, what does it mean when you dream of a loved one and they look like they did when they passed? Okay, Lily, those are the ones you got to pray for also. Now, understand, sometimes you don't need mediums to cross people over. I mean, cross spirits over. But I'm going to tell you one thing, is that if you see somebody in your dream that looked like they died, I would probably say that they didn't cross over. If you get the spirit that's passed away, like a person that passed away and they're coming in your dreams and it's negative, they're yelling at you or making threats, or there's some kind of like weird nightmare or something going on with it, it's not your loved one. It's either something in that house pretending to be that one to cause fear so they can drain your energy, or your spirit or that loved one's probably somewhere else lower that needs to be, prayed for. But I think the one you're talking about hasn't crossed over, and I think you got to pray for to God that he goes or she goes into the light so that they can be at peace. And that's why I say you don't need a medium to cross somebody over. If you know a spirit hasn't crossed over, what I would suggest is put a candle in the floor, take some deep breaths through your nose, just try to work with the spirit more than you with the brain, and then start praying. Ask God the Creator to come down and put the light down near that candle, and then explain to the spirit that you're doing this because you want them to go home with their loved one. Now, it might take a few minutes, it might take a few seconds. Each situation is different. But when you start feeling that energy shift around you, that's how you're going to know your loved one is crossed over. You're welcome. My husband passed away 2 months ago. He sends me messages through my dreams all the time. Oh, I'm sorry, Kim. Yeah, that means he loves you very much. He's just trying to let you know that he's okay and that he's crossed over. Sometimes, with a lot of the dreams that come through like that, it's just a visual that we know that they're okay when they're smiling, and sometimes they're healthy and they're looking young. That's how we know they're okay. They want us to be at peace with that. Kim said, "My husband looks you here and very happy." Okay. My husband looks here very, very happy. Kim says, "Looks younger and happy." Oh. Yeah, Kim, that means he's in heaven and he's crossed over and happy and healthy. Marianne, if you keep having somebody calling your name lately, I would not talk to that spirit. I think it's trying to trick you, in my opinion, or it's trying to confuse you. And I would probably suggest opening some windows around your house, smudging your entire house. Get those closets, get under the bed, whatever you got to do to get rid of it. If it comes back, you do it again, rinse and repeat. And say your prayers when you're doing it. Don't be scared while you're doing it. Like attracts like. So if you start getting scared, you use that fear and you switch it to confrontation. Like what I would say is like, say, get the F out of my house. Use some cuss words. So you don't effing belong here. And that fear will switch to that confrontation. Does that make sense? I can't say the word, but it'll switch to that so that you're also owning up to your own space. And this thing knows that you don't have any fear of it anymore. Debbie says, how do I know with all the nature I have been in my yard and food for them, whether they could be my loved ones, like my best friend with the butterflies? So Debbie, I've said this, I think I've said that before. Like, so if you ever around nature, like, so if a butterfly follows you, lands on you, a dragonfly follows you around a pond or a lake, hummingbirds are in your face all the time. If an animal doesn't act like normal, like a normal animal, like a normal insect, that's how you're gonna know it's your loved one. If a crow's just sitting there by itself looking at you, crowing and won't leave, just crowing and crowing, that could be somebody's just stopping by and saying hi. I was outside with my dogs today, and I saw this dove up on the wire. I think it was an electrical wire, and I don't know if it was my loved one. But what I always do, and if I don't feel like connecting, I always look up at him and I'll say hi to him. I don't know if it's my love, but I just acknowledge him. Sometimes I'll check to see if it's a loved one, but I don't think, even if it's not, I still say hi because I just want to make sure. Thanks, Lily. Appreciate that. But yeah, you can always sense when they're around too. Like you can feel, I can always feel when my mom's around. If you've got that abilities, you can feel when your dad's around, your grandma. You know certain energies. You just know it's them. Kim says right after my husband passed, a hummingbird came right up to me and just looked at me for 30 seconds, and that was definitely a message. Definitely, that was your husband saying, "I'm right here. I'm right here." You know, hummingbirds. I would look at a hummingbird like they're always busy, busy, busy. That would tell me your husband likes to be busy when he was alive. So understand when you look at a certain animal, it kind of might represent their personalities as well. Awesome, Heidi. Like some spirits, my mom, when she blew up my TV one time because she kept turning it off all the time and it finally blew out. And it probably time for me to get a new one, anyways. Um, she does it. She messes with my TV sometimes. I mean, I remember there's been a few times where I'll do a reading and my TV goes on by itself. um, you know, it just things that her thing is always a TV with me. My brother, she likes to mess. My brother likes to work in his garage with the old radio, and she likes to turn that radio up really full blast when nobody's around. And then when somebody walks in the house, that's always turned up. Like the knob is turned up all the way to the blasting. My brother's dad likes to mess with the lights. He's been known to blow out some light bulbs. My mom, when she visits my sister, I think my sister smells her and senses her. So they do something different for each person, but we all have our own stories, if that makes sense. I think they're just trying to let us know in their own way that's them. And sometimes also, if you want to find out if like an animal comes to you, if it's your loved one, just close your eyes and try to clear your mind and just say, are you my mom? Or is this my cousin Joe or whatever? And just close your mind. And if you get a yes really quick, then I'm assuming that's probably going to be your answer. Trust it. If you get no, if you don't get nothing, that's probably a no. But if you get a yes, I'd probably say yeah. Terry's asking, what angels do I call upon in life or death situations? Terry, for me, as a Christian, I only trust the archangels that are in the Bible. Gabriel, Raphael. I think there's one or two other ones, but I only trust those ones. I do. My favorite one is Saint Michael. By the way, I pray to him, when I need, because he's a protector. When I feel like there's some dark energy or something that's not right, I'll say a quick prayer, and I can sometimes feel when the energy flees. But I always want something I know I can trust. Now there are some things in the spirit in the spirituality where there's certain angel names like Uriel and Azrael or whatever these names are. I don't know if those are legit angels. I know I could probably check if I want to, but I trust what I'm given. I mean, I kind of trust with what I read in the Bible, and those names in that Bible also go through the Hebrew. I mean, the Hebrew Bible, the Muslim Bible. I mean, all those other cultures. So all those names are always the same of the light, if that makes sense. You're welcome, Debbie. Mariana saying, Mercury retrograde is bothering you. Virgo or Gemini? I'm a Pisces. I'm a very sensitive Pisces. Sheila's saying, we captured a lot of orbs in our home and we couldn't sleep. We didn't know why it was happening. Sounds like if there's orbs around your house and you're not sleeping, it could be different things. And it's hard for me to say because I'm not doing a reading on that. So I don't know for sure. But I would probably say some kind of energy in that house, or orbs or energy. That's all it is. It's something that energy is coming in your house and it's keeping you awake. I would smudge your house and keep, like I said, somebody else in here earlier, open up your windows, smudge the heck out of it. And if you don't want it, tell it's not invited. If it's giving you a bad vibe and it's doing something negative, it's not invited. If it's a loved one, tell them to come to visit you when you're just you don't have to have a conversation with them. Just say, if you're a family or a friend, you visit me during the day, let me sleep. Just try to do those things to see if it works. Sarah saying, whenever I feel spirits around, let me double check here before I go. Okay. Whenever I feel spirits around, I have rules and boundaries for any spirit Usually they get it to you by the rules and boundaries for any of the spirits you connect with. And does that work usually? Sierra, I do. I mean, there have been many times where I can feel a spirit coming upon me, like I feel like I'm going to be attacked, or if they touch me, that's when I go into this, I go into a fight mode instead of the flight mode, and I cuss at them and I get mad, and I just the way I am. I'll just say, don't you ever F, and I get mad at cuss. I say, don't you ever F and touch me again. You touch me, I'm throwing your ASS into the light, and then I just start going off on them, and they respect that because they know that I'm not scared. Some of these spirits will test me. They'll test me to see if I'm scared and if I'm going to react. And when they see me doing that, they're going to back. Some spirits have respect for that. They don't care if you're male or female. They're like, well, okay, we don't want to mess with that because he knows what he's talking about. But you always, when you work in this kind of field, one of the things you're going to have to learn is boundaries with people, boundaries with spirits. It's all about boundaries. I'm sorry, Roberta. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I hope I didn't mess it. If you can want to put it again, I don't know if I got it or not. Let's see here. Heidi is asking, we have had arguments in our home, and sometimes all of a sudden the lights are flickering in the house, and I believe it's a loved one saying stop it. I believe that too, because that's negativity. That tells me that there's somebody in your house up in heaven that's coming down to visit you, and they don't like negativity. They don't. There's no negativity in heaven. Nobody's ever arguing, fighting, calling each other names, any of that. Nothing, rumors, nothing's like that in heaven. So when they're coming down here and they see you fighting, yeah, they're going to let you know they don't want. They're here to, they're here to love you. They're here to show you they're okay. But if you're doing that, they're not going to, So yeah, they're just trying to teach you a lesson. Just stop it, right? Hope you. Yeah, my dogs are laying down there being good right now. If they were active, I'd bring them up to you right now. But yeah, they're quiet, so I'm not going to bug them when they're quiet because they'll be jumping and barking and yapping right now. But I will try to remember to show them. Roberta's saying, if my daughter died tragically in my mother's home and I don't feel her, are you able to connect with them in the spirit world? Roberta, that's hard because I don't know until I do a reading. I don't know if she's earthbound. I don't know yet if she's crossed over. But when I do my reading, I would be able to let you know where she's at. I don't connect with earthbound spirits. Like if you live in California and I'm in Montana and say she hasn't crossed over, I can't connect with her. It's like me trying to connect with you this way. I can't connect with you, if that makes sense. I can only connect with people who've crossed over into the light. And I do connect with the earthbound spirits when I want to cross them over, only if I'm close to them, if that makes sense. I have to be in the same area. I'm sorry for your loss, by the way, Roberta. Kim saying, do you ever get information on what's going on in the world, like all the evil and politics and lies of the media? Yeah. And it's draining. So I used to get myself in trouble, get banned off of Facebook all the time because I would try to tell the people the truth, and I had to quit doing that. And because I was, it's just, and I was feeding into it, and I needed to stop. It was just stupid. But I get a lot of the information. I can see, and I don't know if it's just because of my gift or if it's because of who I am, but I can sense BS a mile away. You sit there and you lie and you lie and you lie. I pick up on that. I'm like, and I can't trust you. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I don't talk politics here, but I'm just saying, I don't care which side you're on. It's kind of like a turnoff for me. I pick up on that. I know all of them lie, and I don't trust a lot of them. But if I keep seeing somebody constantly lying and lying, even common sense stuff, that bothers me. That gets me in trouble on Facebook. So I just, yeah, because I want to say the truth. I want to speak the truth, but people ain't going to hear it, and they want to argue, and they want to, ban you for saying something. So I don't do it anymore. You're welcome, Sheely. Debbie's saying, give me 1 second here. I feel lost a big part of me, art-wise and creative. I don't know how I lost me, or I don't know how. Is that something you can answer? So Debbie, without doing a reading, I can't answer that, but I'm assuming you got something blocked within you. There's something probably tragic happened to you in your past, so you need to get that block undone. And the best way for that block to go away is probably journaling it every day until it gets out, or go to therapy, learning about it and understanding it and working with it. That's the only way you're going to get that block down, is if that trauma that happened into your life, you got to go back and face it, unfortunately. Heidi's saying, yeah, I get that. I figured, okay, it's all done. That's what I want to say. Grandma's saying, I had a reading with you and it was very helpful. I plan on booking one in a few months. Well, thank you, Grandma. I appreciate that. Kim saying, it's not about sides. I agree. I want truth over everything else. I do too, Kim. I do. I want the truth from the Democrats. I want the truth from Republicans. I want the truth about, this virus. And I know the truth. I mean, I can ask my spirit guide and I already know the truth, but I don't want to tell anybody what they want. It's kind of like religion. I don't want to tell people my belief and I don't want them to put it on me, if that makes sense. So, but there's people that are strong-willed in their belief system, whether it be politics, religion, or their shots, or whatever you want to call it. It's just, and you can't make them understand. And it's almost like a path. It's like a path they're on. They have to figure it out themselves. And that's where I'm kind of learning stuff as well. I got to back off, until somebody maybe wants to ask my opinion, I will, but I won't throw that stuff on them, and I catch myself doing that and I can't, and it's something I got to work on and I'm not proud of it, but yeah, it's frustrating. Marianne saying, like me, human lie detector. I've had that as a kid. It's stronger and gift now. Oh yeah. I remember when I was a kid, Marianne, I could look at those teachers and tell BS when they're lying about stuff. I've had some abusive teachers growing up too, verbally and mentally. I mean, yeah, and sometimes physically, but I think it was a different time, or they were just not good people. But I also had really good teachers as well that I always remembered. But I could pick up on that. And when I remember as a kid, I would pick up, like, I'd always get that feeling like something happened to her when she was younger. That's why she's this way. And I think someone was trying to help me to understand it. So when a teacher was being verbally abusive to me or another kid, I'd pick up on that, even as a little kid. But it was something was trying to let me know, to help me understand that, so I wouldn't have hate on that person. So, I'm angry with that person. I'm angry with what they did. But I don't think I hate them. It feels like hate, but I don't. And it's something I'm still working on, forgiving on stuff like that too. There's some really bad people in this world, and they've had bad times, but it helped me to look at things differently, I believe. Marianne said, like me, a human, let's see, Kim saying, how far are you booked to your readings? So Kim, it depends. For half-hour readings, I can probably find something, hopefully before January. I think I might have some spots might be open. I don't know yet. But I do, like, for 1 hour readings, I've definitely booked to January. But understand, I'm always months ahead in a lot of my readings. I've been that way for years. I'll never catch up. So everybody who ever wants readings is going to have to book ahead of time, because it's, I'm not the kind of reader that, well, I want a reading today. Oh my God, my life is going crazy. And I get those kind of people all the time. My life is going crazy. I'm going to die. I need a reading today. Oh, this or that. Well, the whole thing is about being patient. It's not about, because it's all, when I'm hearing that, I'm hearing ego. So it's all about being patient. That's all it is. And I try to explain it to people, if they ever want to listen. But the best readings, the best mediums are the ones who are always booked out far. And that's how you're going to know they're good. If you go to a medium, excuse me, I got to drink something here. If you go to a medium and that, sorry. If you go to a medium and that medium gets you in right away on phone readings, maybe that's okay. I mean, it depends on, if she wants to do a whole 8-hour a day scheduling. I can't do that. I can only do about 3 or 4 hours of readings, and I'm so drained or burnt out. Because if I do one reading for an hour, I did 20 readings for one lady for 1 hour, and I couldn't believe I did that many. And every time the spirit wanted to say something, she was like, "Okay, let's go to this next person." So all that energy being exchanged drained me so quick. And it's hard. It's explained how I do this kind of work, because I want to do this full time. I want to do this 8 hours a day, or at least 7 or 6, but I can't. It's impossible. I'll get burnt out so quick. That's why I had to take, once in a while, you'll see me taking a month or a few weeks off from this, because it does take a lot. It takes a toll on me. I love doing it, but I don't want it to that point where I'm just going to be so burnt out I can't do it no more. And I know I'm here to help people, and I got to do this until God tells me to quit. Um, but don't let. Sorry, I got something in my throat. Sorry, but don't let me being booked out that far out turn you away from not getting a reading you need. There's reasons why you're being drawn to me that you need a reading, and that's what I'm here for. Let's see here. Roberta's saying I've had one dream of sitting in mom's sofa saying, I can't believe this happened. I believe she is stuck and I can't come through to me. Well, I would say, Roberta, you got to pray on that one. Ask God to help her cross over. If you don't feel she's crossed over, God works. I know mediums can't do that stuff. Even I pray to ask God to help me. So many things like that. I can't do all. I'm just a messenger. But I tell people when these things like this happen, you pray, and sometimes getting more people to pray works too. The more, the better. So get your family to pray. Debbie saying, thank you, Paul. I have to go. I will share. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you guys I do appreciate that. Marianne saying, so should I book a year in advance? No, I'm not that far out, Marianne. I always seem to be like booked out 3 to 4 months right now. And right now I'm just mostly through January. And I can't control that. I wish I could control it, but I can't. Unless I'm going to get burnt out and then have to quit again for a while. And I don't want to do that either. Should we stock up on water and food? Because I do worry all the things in the future what's being happened. It seems like revelations of the Bible. It's very scary, to be honest. Lily, I don't know. I've connected with my spirit guide, and he says we're not in the revelations times yet. We're slowly going there, but we're not there yet. Because when he told me, once we're there, we're going to know, because it's going to get a lot worse than what we think it is now. What we're feeling right now is a change and things are going on. There's a change happening. And I think if you watched my video on, I just posted on there recently on this page, this last one, explains what the change is. And I think this is what people are picking up on. But, it's hard. I don't know God's ways. And, even the Bible says God will come as a thief in the night. So I'll never know his ways and I'll never pretend to. But all I know is I'm being told that when that time comes, we're all going to feel it, and it's going to get a lot worse than what we have now. This is nothing compared to what's going to happen when we're in the revelation times. And a lot of it happens is because so many people are turning away from God. And the church, so a lot of these churches are turning people away, which means that they're becoming judgmental. They're, they're scaring people away. They don't want gays in their church. They don't, and then people hear that and then they don't want to go to that church. When you start, and then you have churches that bring in politics, you start doing these kinds of things and and people they know BS too when they see it. When you start doing these things, people are going to be pushing away, God, it was a loving God. Jesus never spoke against the gay people or anything like that. But you know what? And then, I always tell people too, it's like, if you go to a church that hates, you're going to the wrong church. That's man stuff. That's all about control. But unfortunately, because of this, a lot of this is going on. A lot of the churches are getting, there's a lot less people attending church services. And it's just sad. And people are turning away from God because they put church and God together. And, I get this so much on my readings all the time with spirit guides. It just keeps always bringing that up. Get back with God. Start praying. Get to church once in a while. It's always seems like the same pattern. And it's your guys' souls. It's everybody's souls, what they want to do with their own soul. But I'm just a messenger. But I feel that when I get to that quite a bit. Let me see here. But I would, Heidi, let's see. No, Heidi, I'm sorry. Lily, I wouldn't worry about that too much. It's good to stock up on stuff. You never know because of floods, hurricanes. It's better safe than sorry. But don't dwell on that stuff. God doesn't want us to dwell on that time. He talks about that in the Bible. We shouldn't, because it causes fear and worry. He doesn't want us to live that way. You live in the now. You love your family. Have fun. That's what it's about. He doesn't want you to live in fear. Things happen for reasons, and when it does happen, it will. But I don't think it's going to happen, for a while. It may happen. I have a feeling it's going to happen in my lifetime, but when I get a lot older than I am now, if I make it that old, or I'll see, or either it's going to happen at that time, or I'm going to see it. That's how I kind of feel it, and that's a long time from now. Heidi says a lot of things happened wrong in my life, but they have made me a better person and stronger person, and I have a heart of gold. And I believe that I can talk to angels, but that's all. Yes, and you talk to angels. That's a higher vibration, so that's good. If you can talk to angels, that's awesome. It's a higher vibration, so you keep doing what you're doing, and they're always going to be there to listen to you, the protectors. Sarah's saying the hardest thing I have ever done was forgive my father, and when he died, I had a dream, and he was arguing with me, and that he wasn't dead, and I had to yell at him and say, "You are," and he finally got it. Sometimes, Sarah, some people, some spirits don't know they're dead. They don't know they're dead, and I think some spirits will bring their ego with them to the other till the end, and they may still think they're alive. I don't know how you cannot see. I always think of that too. Like if I were a spirit, how would I know I'm not dead? I mean, if you can walk through walls, or can you, if you can't pick something up, maybe I think sometimes in their minds that they're so, what do you call it? They just don't want to believe it. So it's so strong to them, and they don't want to hear it. But when it happens, it's it's hard to say. Kim saying, what do your spirit guides say about aliens and paladins? So Kim, I don't connect with that kind of stuff, and I'll tell you the reason I don't do it. I've had my experience with aliens. I've seen UFOs. I've seen an alien before. All I can say is when you're looking at, if you want to look at evil, evil's going to look back at you. If that makes sense. Now, a lot of things with people who are interested in the alien stuff, and people who are interested in the demonic stuff, they start getting into that a lot. And if you ever read into that, they all seem to have everything's always the same on each side. They always seem to have supernatural, paranormal things happen to them, and it's always exactly the same stuff. All of them. Now, I was told after I seen my UFO. I mean, I've seen UFOs around in my area all the time when I used to walk my dog, and I seen one across the street, and it was like a triangle with 7 red stars. And it's a long story. I don't want to get into that right now. But when I connected with my spirit guide, he told me that these were fallen angels, and I can't remember. Nephilims is what he called them. And then so he says you don't connect with them. It's a different kind of vibration. It's a different kind of spirituality up there. It's a different kind of knowledge. And that we're not allowed, we should not be messing with that, because they know when we're interested in them, they're going to be bothering us. And people end up getting poltergeist activity around their house sometimes too because of that. So that's just my opinion. I would probably say no for me anyway. That stuff is interesting. I watch it on TV sometimes, but I think it's kind of a deception. And I think it's going to end up that part of that might be the end times as well. The deception, I don't know. But I don't trust things that deceive people that are not of God. So, I mean, I believe that, we're not the only people on this earth. I believe that there are other planets with other things on there, but I don't know if those are all Nephilims or not. Yvette saying each thing in its own time. I agree. Kim says, I just prepare and live my life to be happy as I can. I agree. Heidi saying, I waited 3 months for Paul, and he has a good heart, and it's worth waiting for. I appreciate that. Thank you, Heidi. Lily saying, okay, thank you so much for your advice. Appreciate it. Go back to church, but I do think God a lot. Yes, amen. Heidi saying amen for sure. Marianne, what is your opinion on spirit chills? Does that mean I can feel the higher vibration? If you're in a house or that's haunted, or an earth spirit might be around. Oh boy, it's getting dark in my house. And an earthbound spirit is around, and you start getting chills. I want to say that's an earthbound spirit. They're just letting you know that they're there. It's an energy. They're taking energy. They're looking for energy around them. It's like a vampire. They're sucking in energy. And that cold you're feeling is their death. You're feeling their death, like as if they were in a grave. That's what you'd be feeling. Kim is saying, right after my husband passed, he was shocked, like I was. It happened so fast. We were both like, what the hell just happened? I always thought that aliens are not good. So many people are into it, but I'm not. Yeah, they're not good. They're not good at all. I've had so many experiences with these things, and I don't think they're good. I try to tell people, just don't get too much into it. If you don't want spiritual things around you, paranormal things, poltergeists, and don't mess with them. Now, what I've also been told is, that sleep paralysis. Of course, you're going to read about sleep paralysis. People say, "Oh, it's scientific." It's not even scientifically proven what it does. So it's just a theory. It's always been a theory. When it started becoming, something big. I remember that, like the early 2000s. It's still a theory. It's not even really proven that it's what it is. Like when you're going to sleep, it has some kind of chemical in your brain or something. That's not true. So sleep paralysis is what I've been told some spirit guides. So sleep paralysis has something to usually do with the demonic. So you'll be laying in bed, and it happened to me one time. And remember when I don't know if you guys were watching me earlier when they were talking about those tarot cards. That's what happened to me. Something similar to that. So I'll be laying in bed, and I woke up to get ready to go to work, and I couldn't move. I could breathe. My whole body was paralyzed. My eyes were open, and I can hear something on the back of me cussing at me, telling me it wants to rape me, and all this weird crap. Now, let me tell you something. Before that happened, it's like my body was levitating. And I saw my bed, and I laid down on my bed, and then I looked up, and when I looked up, I could feel my body kind of like bouncing on the mattress. So I looked up. I couldn't see anything, but I knew something was dark on me, and it wouldn't let me go because I could feel this grasp of my legs and my arms. My whole body was paralyzed, and all I can remember is trying to scream. I kept going like that, and I couldn't get it out. So the only thing that released me is when I started thinking of God, Jesus on the cross, and I started praying, and that just released me like that. Now, prior to that, I kept feeling like I was being watched by something, like something was watching me for 2 weeks before this happened. And what it did was, demons don't really read your mind. Demons will, when they're interested in you, what they'll do is they'll study you. They're going to dark places and they watch you. They watch everything about you. They watch your pupil of your eyes, what you like or not like. They can tell. They watch your breathing. They watch what you read. They watch what you watch TV. They watch how you interact with people. They listen to everything for a while. And that's what this thing was doing. And then it finally attacked me. I started going to church, and it stopped. And I mean, it only happened once, but it's the only time I ever had that happen. And I learned my lesson from that. And so I think it was like a week after that. I woke up about 3 a.m, and I remember I was looking up from the headboard, and I don't know what this thing was. It looked like a little baby spirit. It was dark, and it was crawling up my ceiling into the wall, like it was crawling. And so I went back, and I started praying more. I started getting back with God. I never had to think of that again. So these demons, which they will do this, and they feed off of your energy to cause that fear, just like with nightmares. They need that energy. So people who are not are not close to God or don't believe in God are the ones who usually are affected the most by this. Not all the time, but I get that a lot with the people who are. It's a spiritual warfare. Is what that is. That tells me there's spiritual warfare going on with that person. And I question them. I'm like, were you messing with the occult? What you had been opening? Were you doing drugs? What were you doing? I mean, you had been something. And so that's what usually happens. Sandy's asking, do they come from a different dimension? Yeah, different dimensions are also lower realm places as well. Different dimensions could be, different planets. I don't want to know, Sandy. For me personally, I don't want to know where they're from because I don't want them around me. That's just me. I don't. Some mediums will talk about these things. Some mediums will say they can talk to these aliens or get readings from them. That's cool. To each their own. I don't want it around me because I don't want to be lied to. I don't want a reading. I don't want those things around me. What is a vampire? A vampire is usually the ones that suck blood. Remember those old scary shows with the vampires? Spiritual vampires are the ones that suck your energy out. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Like you wake up in the morning, you're exhausted after you've been having a nightmare. You walk into a place, you're getting chills, and all of a sudden you get tired. You feel drained. Your cell phone's dead. Yeah, that's what a spiritual vampire is. I was watching through this, that it was getting darker in the house. I saw the sun go down in your window. Oh, it's dark in here. I should turn on the light. Sometimes I pass people in the store and I get chills. Bad. What? So if you're walking in the store and you're getting chills by somebody, I would probably say that person's got an attachment on them, and you're picking up on that. or it could be your spirit guide warning you about that person. I just trust that. I wouldn't trust people if I was around people like that. When I was 16, I woke up and shadows were around my bed and I couldn't move or speak. I started singing songs in my mind in God's name. I command you to leave, and they left. Good for you, Kim. That's the best thing you can do. God, when anytime we call upon God and use His name, the Jesus name is really powerful. So if I say I invoke the blood of Jesus Christ, those are really the name Jesus Christ and the blood of Jesus Christ are very powerful when you're saying stuff like that. They will flee. They hate that stuff. They don't like it. Remember, we got more power over them than they think they have over us. They just want that fear from us. Yvette saying, I tried to do my rosary every day for protection and always did. All right, so Yvette, let me tell you about the story about the rosary. I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I just find this fascinating. All right, you don't have to be Catholic to believe this, but it's interesting. Who was that serial killer? His name was Ted. What was his last name? Ted. He was from the 70s, Ted something. You remember he raped all those girls and he killed all those girls? Remember who I'm talking about? The one that looked really attractive, and all those girls thought he was dreamy, but he was a demon inside. But what was his name? Ted Bundy. Yeah, Ted Bundy. So when Ted Bundy went to that sorority house, or that house where all those girls were sleeping, he went in there and was killing and raping those girls. But he went to that one girl's. He said he went to one girl's bedroom, and he felt like there was a strong presence that was pushing him out. And he actually said that. He said, well, because I went to that room and I couldn't get in. And I think she was one of the few girls, or one of the girls that lived through that, because she was never raped or murdered, but the other girls were. And when that girl saw that on the news, she said, well, my mom would always remind me to say my rosary every night before I went to bed. And that rosary saved her. So that's the power of prayer. No matter what religion you are, is it works. It really works. It doesn't have to be the rosary. It can be praying to God, asking for protection every night. It will work. Lily says she's got nightmares for the last 20 years, and it's always animals chasing me and biting me like bears. So, Lily, I would probably say a dream like that, you probably might want to see a therapist on that, because that's something deeper. That sounds something more subconscious than it is spiritual. And I think if I were, that's what I would do. And maybe you might have to get probably put under to deal with that, and work with it. So that way you're going to have to get through it, so you don't have any more night terrors. That's just my opinion. I can work on remembering my dreams. So important to me. When I woken up by my rabbit, then my dreams fade. Anything to improve? So if you want to remember your dreams, they say just write them down. That's the only thing I can tell you. Pen and paper, write them down, and then you should remember them. Because right when you wake up and the light hits your eyes, you forget right away. So I always say keep a pen and paper by your bed when you're sleeping, so you can remember. I've been on here for a while, but I'm gonna get off here, you guys. I'm thinking about going on TikTok. I don't know yet, but it got dark in here quick. Anyways, or just the way this camera is. I'll be back on live on Sunday. So make sure you guys follow me on here and get notifications when I'm on. I do appreciate that. Thanks you guys for coming. I just wanted to just answer some questions. I hope I answered the best I could, the best way I know. Thanks, guys.